You're listening to the Teach Better Talk podcast featuring expert educators eager to share progressive tactics to reach more students. Teach Better Talk is created by teachers and fueled by passion. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 154 of Teach Better Talk. My name is Ray Hewart, and I am with the overwhelmingly positive Jeff Gargis.
That was not from you.
Why? Why couldn't that have been from me?
Because you just told me it wasn't from you.
Well, I told you off the air. Now that we're recording, you could have at least pretended I didn't tell you. No, of course it's not
sorry.
from me.
Hey, thanks, Ray. That was really nice.
No, that wasn't from me. All right. That was from Ryan Caswell. And for those people that are listening who went to Teach Better 19 conference, you know Ryan because he was the one running around taking amazing photographs and video of literally everything going on at that.
There's actually a good chance you don't know Ryan because he's so good at what he does, you didn't even know he was there half the time. That's what I loved about Ryan, is he had, one camera in the back and he's running all over the place, but you never saw him. He's so good at this stuff. And it's not like he's small. He's a pretty tall dude.
Oh, he's tall.
He's all over the place. So, yeah, Ryan's awesome. I've got to meet up with him several times, since the conference. He's coming on a trip with us here in a couple, very shortly.
Very soon.
Chicago with the team to shoot us for a whole day and stuff. And he's just a good dude. He's a fun dude. I think he is overwhelmingly positive as well. So I think that goes right back to you, Ryan. That's awesome.
I want to read what he posted, though, because he said more than just the fact that you were overwhelmingly positive. He said more. He says, I don't think I've had a conversation with him, Jeff, where he wasn't thinking of the future and ways to improve it. That is I'm not saying that you're cool. I'm just saying that is quite a statement. Someone who is always thinking of the future and finding a way to improve it. That's awesome. He must have been talking about me. So I think it was really sweet that he said that about me, but
Not just the hat rack.
You're
Not just the hat rack.
You're okay. Have you seen Ellen where it's like Andy who's just average? You're just average. You're okay.
Thanks, Ray. I appreciate that a lot.
Just kidding, buddy. So, how's your week going? It's Thursday. We have, we've done a lot since,
the whole week. Excited. I'm pumped up because we have something pretty sweet coming really soon here.
Well, we have a lot of things coming. I think
specifically this is coming out on March 12th, which means in 4 days from now, we're opening something.
Dun, dun, dun. It could be a box. It could be a package.
It could be a box. It could be a package, an envelope, a bag of chips.
Ooh, bag of chips.
Ooh, bag of chips sounds delicious right now, by the way.
No, you're not eating chips. You're eating healthy, Jeff. Don't forget.
I'm just not eating fried foods. Which, by the way, today, on the day that we're recording, is 75 days with no fried foods.
So I just want to confirm with our network, French fries don't count, right?
Yes, they're French fries.
So they do count?
Yeah, they're fried.
Whatever. Can we go back to what
that are dunked in oil fried? I just haven't done any fried foods for 75 days, which is massive for me, especially since last week I took my daughter to Chick-fil-A for the first time in 70 days because I didn't trust myself to not eat their waffle fries, but I made it through. I got grilled chicken nuggets and did not have fries. Anyway, what I was talking about was actually us opening up the call for proposals for the 2020 Teach Better Conference. That's what I was talking about. March 16th, Monday, March 16th. We open that up. You can submit your proposals. We hope you do. We want to hear your story. I think one of the hardest things I've ever done, but probably one of the funnest things we've ever done was last year going through all the submissions.
Yes.
It was so cool, but it's also really hard because we can only pick so many.
Hours. That took hours.
It did. Yeah, hours. And then if you remember, Ray, I know you remember this because we have so many that we wanted that we actually rearranged things at the venue so we could actually open up another room so we could have more sessions.
Let's clarify something, Jeff Gargis. I'm going to spill all the secrets on this episode. We accepted I kid you not, guys. We accepted 20 presenters, 20 more presenters than we were able to actually house because Jeff Gargis was like, don't worry, Ray. Most of the people won't be able to make the travel.
I did not say most. I said some people won't be able to make the travel.
Don't worry, Ray. Don't worry, Ray.
I was wrong.
You
They
were
all came.
wrong. They all came.
They all came.
So we had to
It was
open up more rooms because we were like, what do you do? Like,
Yep.
it was all your fault.
So good thing is this year, a little bit bigger venue, 2 more rooms to work with, more space to work with. We've got space. We got people. We want more people to come out. So super excited. So Ray,
Open it up.
if I'm an awesome educator
Yeah.
who wants to come and present at the Teach Better Conference 2020, how do I do that?
Okay. Super.
On March 16th, of course.
Yes. So on March 16th, which is this coming Monday, on March 16th, you're going to be able to go to teachbetterconference.com. And in addition to seeing the featured speakers we're continuing to release and all the speakers we had out last year and all the other great things from the 19 Teach Better Conference, the 2020 will be even better because you will be submitting to share your story. So literally all you need to do is go to submit a session and you're going to submit your story that you want to share at Teach Better Conference 2020, October 2nd and 3rd. It's a Friday, Saturday. And we need to hear all your details. So come up with like a cute title, give us like a summary. One of the things I love, do not stress about this, but we do ask for like a really quick little video of yourself. And the reason we do that, to be completely transparent, we want to see your excitement. We want to see how you would share your story. So don't worry about the background. Don't worry about anything besides sharing your greatness and telling us about your amazing session. Make sure you read the directions. It's all in there. And then just submit. And I don't know. I think it's such an incredible opportunity for educators to not only share their story, but share their passions. And we want you a part of it. So there's no negative here. You are submitting to your family, and we cannot wait to be able to amplify your story.
So a couple of questions, Ray.
Ooh, ask away, Jeff Gargis.
One, so, what kind of sessions are you looking for? Because I've already got that question about 35 times since we announced the conference. So just curious, what kind of sessions are you looking for?
Honestly, we're looking for...
What are you looking for in a session? Any variation of that question.
We're looking for anything and everything that encompasses the Teach Better mindset. Do you think that's true, Jeff? Like literally
yes.
Anything in education that you think needs to be shared, anything that is going to not just be this overarching philosophy, but actually contain a tactical takeaway where you're going to involve your attendees in your session in the learning experience. And so they're able to walk out of that room and say, I not only have a new food for thought that I'm going to chew on, but I also have something that I'm going to implement tomorrow in my classroom.
I love that. I love that. And you wrapped it up perfectly at the end with it's something I can implement tomorrow that I can put in place right away. Other clarifying question, Ray.
Yes.
If I'm selected to present at Teach Better 2020, do I have to pay for registration?
No. If you are selected as a presenter for Teach Better 2020, registration is waived. You are the reason we are able to put on a conference. We are not going to charge you to join this 2-day event. We are going to celebrate that you are willing to share your story. And so we are going to make sure you get there.
And I'm telling you this, I wish we could pay everyone to come speak to. We can't do that, but the least we can do is waive the registration fee. Now, I have not completely ruled out Ray and I scheming and robbing a bank, and then we will be able to pay you. But I wouldn't necessarily count on that because most likely we'll just end up in jail. But still, it's in there. It's a thought. It's something we can consider.
Maybe we should have had rob the bank. That way we're still around in case he gets caught.
That's a good idea. Good thinking. I like that. So let's do that. And then, anyway, so I'm excited about that. So go to teachbetterconference.com.
Wait, I had another question.
Oh, you had another question? I was asking questions. You're asking questions now?
Well, I didn't have a question necessarily for you, but how long should my session be? We didn't talk about the session types. Do you have any insight?
Yes. So session types, we're doing 3 session types. So backed by popular demand is the Teach Better Talk session type, which we actually extended by 5 minutes to make them 20-minute sessions. So these are kind of sort of think like a TED Talk type feel, right? You can do slides or not do slides, up to you. But 20-minute session, Teach Better Talk session. We have your breakout session at 50 minutes. And we also have breakout sessions that are going to be 90 minutes.
Dun, dun,
All right,
dun.
so when you submit, you'll be able to select 2. So you'll select your first preference and then your second preference. Obviously, we're going to try to give everyone the first, but you can't always guarantee that. And we'll do that around. So we have those couple options there. I'm excited about it.
No, and I know we can't accept everyone. This is the hardest thing we did last year was have to decide what was being shared. And I can only imagine it's going to be worse this year. We like all crawl in a hole afterwards and sob because we can't pick everyone. But I'm just so excited to see the variety, see new faces. And even if you've never presented before, like this is the perfect conference to try something out. It really is. Like we are so wanting this conference to be built on the family atmosphere and this core value of growth and supporting each other. That's not fake. It's literally how we design every element of this conference, including why we are keeping it small. So this is the perfect opportunity to kind of be vulnerable and share something and have us celebrate you and just continue to amplify your story.
I love it.
Love it.
All right. Speaking of story, let's flip to this episode. Awesome guest. This was so much fun. You're going to notice right off the bat that it takes us like 5 minutes, 4 minutes, something like that to even get into things because we just start goofing around and talking. We had so much fun with Shane, fellow podcaster, really, really cool. So Shane he teaches drama, art, computers, and film studies in the junior high area. He has a weekly podcast called the Ed Podcast. Been teaching for 15 years. So this is a passionate educator who is experienced, very, very knowledgeable. Some really, really love his how deep he took us for his failure moment, the advice he gives. His podcast is phenomenal, which Ray shares a lot about her experience actually being a guest on the podcast. Super excited for you to listen to this episode. It is a good one. Ray, any last second things?
No, I just want you all to go subscribe to his podcast. It's so easy to listen to. It's another great one that I personally truly do listen to every single week. And so I encourage you all to not only use this as an opportunity to learn, but to actually expand your network.
I love it. So with that, let's get into episode 154 with Shane Lawrence.
Hey everyone, it's Ray. We are about to get right back to the episode, but I wanted to make sure you are a part of our Facebook group. The Teach Better team has a private Facebook group that has grown so much over the past few months, and we continue to do live sessions, answer questions, and have teachers share their lesson plan ideas so we can all collaborate together. Head over to Facebook and search Teach Better Team to request to join, or you can head to teachbettergroup.com and request there. Either way, we'll see you over on Facebook. Now let's get back to the episode.
All right, we're here. We are chatting with Shane Lawrence. And Shane, we're already laughing. We're already having a good time chatting here before we even hit record. You're a fellow podcaster who totally gets it. It's always nice to flip the mic on a fellow podcaster to get flip it and hear your story from the other side. So I'm excited to jump into that. Before we go too far, though, how you feeling right now?
I'm feeling good. I had a good supper right before we started. So, I'm
important.
Full. I'm feeling pretty relaxed. I had a good day. So, yeah, it's all just smooth sailing from here on out.
Before we go any further, Ray, I don't know, maybe you were going to ask this, so I apologize, but what did you have for supper?
Oh, that's what I was going to ask.
Is that, see, you and me, Ray, we're on the same wavelength. Like, we're there. Like,
we went to Ricky's, which is kind of this middling family pancake house, and just had a stonking huge bacon burger.
Oh man! So where are you at? Because I've never heard of that place. Where are you at?
I'm in Edmonton, Alberta.
Oh, you're in Edmonton. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Very cool. Pancakes sound delicious right now.
Yeah. Well, I got two little ones, right? So it's nice. Some days you're just like, you know what? I just want you to eat. I
I totally get you. Me too.
Referee. So yeah.
So I got to ask because I've never been to Edmonton. Do you guys in Edmonton? Do you do the fries with gravy?
Oh yeah, poutine. Yeah.
Okay.
You bet.
Okay, gotcha. Like, what's that called? I always forget.
Yeah, poutine.
Poutine. Yeah, Ray doesn't know this. So, Ray, you got to understand something. We're so off right now. This is great. Shane, no matter where you go, no matter what you're doing, no matter what, it does not matter. When you go out to eat with Ray, she gets salad and fries. But I don't think I can tell by her voice, she hasn't had fries with the gravy. This is a Canadian thing that's just awesome, Ray.
Well, it's fries and then cheese curds and then gravy. Right?
Yes.
So the hot gravy. Yeah, it's so good.
I usually do it without cheese curds because I can't do the cheese. But the gravy, it's so good.
Yeah.
Let me set the record straight, people. I don't always have fries, but 99%.
No, she always has salad and fries. I mean, I suppose if they don't have fries, you don't. But yeah.
I don't know that I could do the gravy. We're gonna have to all be together to try that. That does not sound like the first name.
Ray, have you ever been to Canada?
I haven't. Are we taking a road trip to see Shane?
We are road tripping to Canada.
Yeah. Yeah. Come on
Yeah,
up. Come on up. It's
we're gonna
great.
go to Harvey's. We're gonna get
Yeah.
some. Yeah, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be a good
Absolutely.
time.
I don't know. Why did I think you guys were out in Ontario? Just because everyone I know is out in Ontario. But where are you
No,
guys?
I'm in Ohio, but I go up to. We actually have my family. We've got a cottage up actually in Ontario, northern
Oh,
Ontario. So we
okay.
go up through the Peace Bridge across, there by Buffalo and up into
Mhm.
Toronto and above there. I love that area. It's great stuff. So
Right on. Right on.
I'm in central Illinois, so
Okay.
I'm a weirdo in the middle of the state.
I want to go on record right now that this is the best start to a podcast we've ever done on Teach Better Talk.
Absolutely.
We're like 3 minutes in, and we haven't even like started with kind of the questions or anything. We're just talking about food in Canada and gravy on fries. Like, I'm digging this. This is great.
I just want to do a poll before we get to our first question, Shane. If you are listening right now, any of our listeners, can you guys please tweet at us or something on social and let me know? Should I try the gravy and fries, or is this like a no-go and these boys are crazy? That's all I want to know.
No, you got to. You have to.
The answer is yes.
I'm going to leave it to Twitter and Instagram to tell me. I'm just telling you.
All right. I'm just saying poutine is like it's national dish. It's important stuff.
Oh my God.
It is important stuff.
A national dish with fries. All right, we got to get into this episode.
Yeah.
Right, we're going up north. We're getting some poutine, and then we're going to play some hockey, and then just be super nice to everyone. And that's basically the stereotypes of Canada that are true.
Absolutely, and then don't forget to apologize as well, right?
You got to apologize constantly, but you just you're basically like an American if we were all nice. That's how we're like, what's Canada like? I'm like, it's a lot like the United States, only everyone's really nice. Unless you talk to Canadians, they're like, well, we're not all nice. And I'm like, yeah, most of them are nice.
If someone could hit Jeff's off switch, that would be awesome.
Get me talking about Canada. I'm going to go. I love these people.
Oh my God. Shane, can I just tell you, I have loved talking to you so far, although I really do wish that Jeff could take the rest of the episode off. I want to make sure our listeners get to know about you because I was excited for you to be on this podcast because I know how great you are, and this conversation does not even nearly do you justice. Will you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and like everything that you do?
Sure. Well, I'm a big fan of poutine.
Oh, man.
All right. Okay. Education stuff. I've been teaching for it's my 15th year, I think. So I currently teach drama and art and computers and film studies. So I'm mostly junior high. So I think that translates to like middle school south of the border, like grades 7, 8, 9. A little bit of high school in there too. And I do a weekly podcast called Ed, and I've been doing that for about 5 years. And I love my job, love what I do. I would say like my driving passion is probably for film production and film studies. So that's close to my heart. Other than that, I show up to work and do my best every day.
I love that you referred to us as south of the border. That's awesome. I love it. Yeah, 15 years, and a lot of different things. You got the podcast going, all this type of stuff. So I'm interested to hear your story here. So one of the things we always talk about on Teach Better Talk is failure and sharing a story of that. So can you take us with you? Share a story about a time you've had a failure in your life. Kind of tell us what happened, how did you overcome it, and then what did you take away from that experience?
Okay. This is like whenever someone asks me this, I always have to share this like excessively long story about it. So just kind of sit back, relax about this one.
Good. We've already waited like 4 minutes of our episode, so just go with it. You're good.
Yeah, right on. Cool. So, because this is not I had a bad lesson plan one day. This was actually not too long after I started teaching, third or fourth year, I think. And our school does a musical production every year, and it's huge. It's a monster thing. And so the one year that I was doing it, I would co-direct with the other drama teacher at our school. And it just happened that her father was really ill. And so she was gone, and he was not in the country. So she was gone out of the country for a significant portion of this production. And so it kind of fell to me to do, my job plus everything. And I was designing sets, I was building sets, I was choreographing, I was doing dances, I was doing blocking, I was doing directing, I was covering a lot of bases. So I was probably at my peak when I was working on this project. I was up to about 60 hours a week on just the musical. Plus I also taught full time. So you might imagine that will put you in a bad place, and you're right. I've never experienced that level of exhaustion before. It was to the point where, I mean, you just kind of, you don't have control of your own feelings, your own mental processes. I was just absolutely consumed with work, to the point where, my wife would be, I think, trying to tell me something about me being absent from our relationship, and, that sort of thing. And I would just blank out, and I would literally just start humming songs from the show, because that's my head was just so full of this stuff, and I was so exhausted, and nothing was making sense. I was definitely in the classroom as a teacher too. I was not a good teacher. Like, no excuses, not a good teacher. And so, I mean, it got to the point where basically I had to choose, what, mental and physical well-being over doing this thing that I loved and still love. I don't direct the musical anymore, but I basically had to take a step back, because my failing was just allowing this thing to just absolutely consume my life. I mean, we talk about work-life balance sometimes, and I mean, this was, it's never 50-50, but I mean, I was literally 99 and 1. Like, home was a place I slept, and work was a place I did a musical and pretended to do the rest of my job. So, it got to the point where I had to make that decision, and I ultimately, obviously chose wellness. And, but I remember the moment that I made that decision, and I mean, I was in the auditorium and there was no one else there. And I went onto the stage. I just sat down on the set, and no one else was around, but I just sat down on the set and I just cried. Like, I was exhausted, and I was just mentally drained. But I just put everything aside there. And, I left with a lot of sadness, a lot of melancholy, because I was having to let go of this thing that I loved so much. But what I learned is that nothing that you love like that at work, nothing like that is worth, putting aside relationships and your own well-being.
And that's a tough realization to come to, and totally feel you there on how that exhaustion could lead to, and then you come to that ability. So the big move you made then was to step away from the musical.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, it took, I would, a good long number of years before I really felt even comfortable being around the musical.
I bet.
Kind of like hanging around an ex, it just feels kind of weird for a while. So, it was a tough transition, but I mean, having made that decision, I never doubted it. I never, even though it was hard for a long time, I thought, you know what, I'm doing this right, because I'm going home and I have a relationship with my family, and I'm being a better teacher. So,
all right. So now I want to size up. We'll talk about. So I mentioned at the start that we are that you're a fellow podcaster. So let's talk about the Ed podcast. Can you tell us about the podcast? Tell us, well, if you can, like, let's go all the way back. Tell us, like, why did you start it? What's it about? Like, what can we expect? Like, who should listen? Just
okay.
Give us the details.
Okay, I'm lousy at this, but I'll do my best to try and sort of fill this out. I mean, I started podcasting because I was just having conversations with coworkers about, we were doing BYOD, bring your own device.
Mm-hmm.
And it was on the horizon. It was a year away, and we were chatting about it all the time. I was like, hey, we should do a podcast about this. And they all said, yeah, that's a good idea. And it just happened that I actually had all the gear. So I pulled it all together, and I got the guys together, and we just did a podcast. So we did about 7 episodes in our first year, all about BYOD. So Ed, in its previous life, was called Biodcast. BYOD cast, get it?
Okay, yeah, I gotcha.
I hate that name so much. I hate saying it out loud. But yes, we did Biodcast for the first year, and I loved doing it so much that I just decided to keep going with it, change the name to sort of broaden out the scope. And it's morphed. I would say took probably 3 to 4 years before I really kind of settled in and said, okay, this is what this thing is. So really what Ed is just a casual conversation with teachers about the things that they're really passionate about. So that way we get to explore, best practices. We get to explore, wins and fails, and honestly, I just want to expand the discussion on education. And I don't know if humanize is the right word, but put a human face on things so that we can talk about our profession in a way that's not necessarily highly structured. We're not filling out forms. We're not making lists. We're just having a good talk about what we do.
Shane, I won't lie. Like, we obviously have had other podcasts on our podcast that we've interviewed. There's so many amazing podcasts right now, but I really enjoy your podcast. I am truly a subscriber, and I listen to the episodes. And I think that the way you approach each episode is just so natural. And I really enjoy that about all the work that you do, because even when you had me on one of the episodes, which was so fun, by the way, I just remember concluding our recording being like, wow, like what an easy guy to talk to. I just think that that's so valuable as our listeners are hopefully hunting for podcasts to continue to expand their network. I'm such a fan of the work you're doing because it just seems so effortless. You can listen to it at any point throughout your day. And you do take some deep dives into some hard topics, but it's in a way that you can kind of chew on these ideas and then explore more after. And I really enjoy that setting you guys have.
Thank you. Wow. I'm blushing.
No, for real. So I have to ask, like, usually our question 4 has to do with what's exciting you about education. And I really am interested in this from you, specifically because the work you're doing and with your podcast. I have to know, like, what fuels you to do this type of work, especially in the style in which you're doing it. I mean, with everything going on in education and all that you're doing, what kind of is keeping you excited?
Are you talking about podcasting in particular?
Well, or just education in general.
Just education in general?
Is your favorite?
Name your favorite child, right?
Oh, I know, right? So maybe just pick one or share on both.
Well, the funny thing is I can actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I can put them into the same bucket in that they're both things that I want to get better at. I waited probably 10 years of teaching before I got my first student teacher because my metric was, well, I'm going to wait until I feel like I know what I'm doing. And of course, after 10 years, I'm like, well, I guess that feeling's never going to come. So I'll just get a student teacher. So I did. And then, of course, that was a very edifying thing because then it's like, oh, I do know things. But at the same time, it's like for both podcasting and teaching, there are things that I know that I've just got miles and miles to go. Like I can always get better at what I'm doing. And it's weird because in my second year of teaching, there was I guess what you'd call a master teacher. I don't think you hear that term being thrown around much these days, but she was a master teacher, and she quit teaching after my second year there because she's like, well, I'm bored. I got it figured out. And I was like, you know what? If I ever get this figured out, if I ever feel like I have it all, laid out and I've got it perfect, then I'll probably quit too. But I am nowhere near that. So I just love that I get to come in every day and there's new challenges. And I'll nail something like, yes, I got it. And the next time around, I'll try it. I'm like, no, wait, that's not right. I got to change this and change that. So I just love that it's something new all the time. And of course, I mean, I'm teaching not a lot of tech heavy courses now. So I mean, goodness sakes, I'm I'm just on the train to wherever, and it's just always changing. So I think that's the big thing about that keeps me coming into work is that I'm not bored. I have new things to do all the time. And there's just, a never ending list of things that I want to try. So, even as I'm teaching something new, I'm like, next year, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to do this instead, or I'm going to change it and do this instead. So yeah, that's the big win or the big pull for me, I think. I
like that. Fill your calendar with things that aren't boring. I think that's great. I like that.
Well, I think that's important. I mean, because there's times, I can't remember where I picked this up, some PD somewhere about just that idea that, if you're bored with what you're teaching, your kids sure are going to be bored with it too.
Yeah.
Right? So when you've got that enthusiasm, they pick up on that. And I mean, like I know the first day I teach film studies, the first day in the semester, like I'm literally vibrating. I'm just I blather like an idiot the entire class. I'm like, okay, guys, sorry, I'm super excited because we're going to be doing films and all this stuff, and I can't slow myself down. Every year I'm like, okay, just slow down, calm down, but I can't do it because I'm so excited. But the kids get that, right? And they pick up on it, and it carries us through all the semester. So, yeah,
that's awesome. So with everything you're doing, obviously things that definitely are not boring. I'm glad that you find so much joy in the work that you're doing, because I really think that that'll resonate with a lot of our listeners as, the reason we get up so early, the reason we spend so much time dedicating our life to students, the reason we stay up late to make sure we're ready for the next day is because we love it. And so what advice would you give teachers, whether they be new teachers or, I don't know, even veteran teachers, to really ensure that they are, kind of like pursuing this love of education and keeping that love at the forefront of their day, I guess?
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. I think you almost kind of answered the question right there. Is that, keep the love of education at the forefront. There's so many things to get distracted by. I wrote down on my notes here is be yourself. And that sounds really cheesy, but this is a lesson I've learned over the last couple of years. I spent a lot of my career just looking to other educators and not just, not in a healthy way. A healthy way is like, what are you doing that's good? I could learn from that. I could try that in my classroom. Here's a strategy. But instead I was looking at other teachers and just saying, I'm not doing it right because they're doing it like this. And so I'd try and change my teaching style and I'd get exhausted just chasing my own tail and trying to be something I wasn't. And so I came to that realization, and I would give this to new teachers as well, is that, you do you. Like, obviously seek to root out what's not working. You have to. But at the same time, we all have our own style of teaching. And I don't think there is one right way to do it. I sure hope there's not one right way to do it. So yeah, be yourself, develop your own style, learn from others, but just realize that you don't have to teach things the way that the person across the hall teaches it, because you're not them.
I love it. You aren't them, and you're uniquely you, and you have special things that you bring to the classroom that only you can bring. So you got to find that style. I love that.
Yeah.
We do a lot of work where we go into schools and we do work and training, and so common for us to come across a teacher who thinks we're trying to tell them exactly what to do. And we're like, no, we're giving you a tool. Mm-hmm. If you want to use what we're sharing with you, awesome, but use it in your way, fit it into your style and the way you do things and your voice. And so I love it. That's great advice. So, all right, Shane, let's have some fun here. We're going to do the next 6 questions. Your goal is to answer each one in 15 seconds or less. You ready?
Number one's going to trip me up, but sure. Yeah, go.
Give us one ed tech tool you cannot live without.
Google Classroom, I guess. I'm not a big fan of ed tech per se. I'm just whatever tool's right for the job.
I like that answer. What's a good book that you're reading right now?
I'm reading The Overstory by Richard Powers.
Very cool. Who do we need to follow on Twitter or Instagram today?
Again, this is tough. Okay, 15 seconds. Tell them. Jennifer Binnis is at Jen Binnis with 2 N's. She's amazing. And one of the most original, thoughtful, critical voices on Twitter, and everybody should follow her. Melissa Chouinard, who's at Colliding with Science, doing great work in science, but also got a fantastic blog she writes, I think, pretty much every day. Just totally worth following, reading everything she does. And then Alana Stanton, who is at Stanton Alana. And again, she's a beautiful voice, does occasional blogging, and just kindness. She's just kindness on Twitter. I love her. So there you go.
What's a good YouTube channel or website for educators?
2, Smarter Every Day, which is just science nerdery. It's fantastic. And New York Times, they do a whole pile of stuff, but they have a really great series that I enjoy as a film teacher called Anatomy of a Scene, which is awesome.
Give us a daily, weekly, or monthly routine every teacher should get into.
Well, you can't schedule under any of those, but just do something that scares you every now and then.
Ooh.
And lastly, what is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Pick your battles.
Good
Straight
advice.
That is good advice. But Jeff, you never seem to pick your battles around me. You're always fighting me.
I'm just picking that battle all the time.
It's a bad battle to pick. You just keep losing over and over. It seems wrong.
Oh, well, it makes you wonder what my other battles are.
True story. I'm a little uncomfortable with the advice that you should do something that scares you every day. Like, that is a.
No, I didn't say every day. I didn't say every day. I just said pick something sometimes that scares you. Yeah. I know the expression is every day, but I got, I can't remember who was. Someone on my show just kind of encouraged me to do that. And so like when they came to me and said, hey, do you want to teach Art 7? And I've never taught Art 7. I just was like, yes, I will. Okay. Just kind of gritting my teeth, but that's going to scare. And I've never been so terrified. Never.
I do it every single day. Every single day, it's like I got to work with Ray today. I'm like, that scares the heck out of me. but I'm doing it.
Yep.
But
Hey,
Jeff, tell
we're
the
behind you.
world why it's scary, because it's not in the way that everyone else is thinking.
Why is it scary to work with you?
Yeah, because I'm so awesome, right?
You're so awesome. That is right. You're right. I take it. You're right.
Well, Shane, I want to make sure our listeners can stay connected to you, because I'm going to say it again, I'm going to encourage them to subscribe to your podcast and check out the episodes and the content you're pushing out, because it's just so easy to listen to, and I always have good ideas when the episode concludes. So if you don't mind kind of sharing where they can stay connected and how to kind of further this conversation.
Sure. Well, the number one spot is Twitter. I'm at the Ed Podcast. Same on Instagram. My website is theedpodcast.com. That's about it. I got a YouTube channel, but it kind of sits there. So yeah, the big ones, Twitter, Instagram, and my website.
Awesome. And, you can find all the links and all the resources and everything we talked about in this episode over at teachbetter.com, as well as those links for connecting with Shane and keep the conversation going. So make sure you head over to the show notes at teachbetter.com for all of that. Be sure to hit subscribe and so you don't miss any of the upcoming episodes. And if you can give us a rating and review, we'd really, really appreciate that. And let's keep taking this one step further. Think of just 3 of your colleagues who need to hear these amazing stories and share this podcast with them. Shane, this was awesome, man. This was a great podcast. We had a lot of fun at the beginning.
Yeah.
I hope everyone stuck through all of our Canada and food talk to get to it, because there was so much value in this episode, and I really hope I can't wait for people to hear it and learn and grow from it. So really appreciate you taking some time. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. This has been a blast.
And until next time, let's get out there and let's teach better.